In the month of March, we saw all-time sales records break at the expectations of tariffs, really increasing prices. But here we are, April sales are now in. And look at Honda setting more sales records. Mazda, well, I'm sure they broke some sales records too. Subaru, 33 consecutive months of growth. Kia breaking sales records. Hyundai, well, we'll talk about the Ioniq 9. We now have pricing on that. Three-row EV. And then Hyundai breaking sales records as well. Guys, if you enjoy auto news, I update you guys every single day on things that are happening in the auto industry. So if you enjoy that, make sure you subscribe. I also update you guys on sales numbers. Very few YouTubers will do that. I come from a sales background. I used to sell for Lexus, so I'm always interested in sales numbers. I geek out over it. So if you like geeking over what cars are selling well, which brands are selling well, who's up, who's down, I update you guys essentially on a month-to-month basis on sales. And it's just a blast. All right. So if you like that, make sure you're subscribed. I will be leaving in about 3 weeks to go to a massive Toyota event. More than likely, the RAV4 will be revealed there. So, or should I say the next generation RAV4. Fully hybrid or fully electrified, I should say. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're going to start at automotive news and bop around to the other newsrooms for individual model sales. But Toyota only posts quarterly. I think Nissan, Ford, most manufacturers, it's hit or miss. Some of them post monthly. A huge portion of them also post quarterly. All right. But automotive news still gets the tally monthly from Toyota. All right. So Toyota said its April sales rose 10% to over 233,000 units. We had a 24% jump at Lexus, its fourth consecutive monthly year-over-year increase. You got to remember, they smashed a March record, I believe, last month, Lexus, but in the year of 2024, they had the best-selling year ever. And I think the first quarter so far this year also is a record-breaking quarter. Toyota brand themselves up about 8%, with the RAV4 up 7.4%. Speaking of the RAV4, my parents are visiting. They needed a new car. They've needed a new car for years. Went to my local Toyota dealer. I have a friend there who sells cars, and lo and behold, there was a limited 2020 19,000 miles, great price, completely loaded, heated and ventilated seats, RAV4 hybrid. My parents got a certified model. They're going to be happy for many years to come with that. Anyways, just a little personal update there, I guess you could say. Of Lexus and Toyota sales, 48% were hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or EV. Hydrogen's not significant to even mention. All right, April for Honda. We'll get into Honda here in a little bit, but Ford, they still have employee pricing going into this month of May. They rose 16% in April. But remember, their employee pricing is really just a marketing tactic to get people in the doors. It's a really attractive marketing tactic, but the prices aren't any better, sometimes worse than it was pre-employee pricing. So just do your research. Anyways, Ford's doing well. Truck sales are doing great, up 20% from a year ago. SUVs up 13%. And sedans, what sedans? Ford doesn't have any. So Ford, here we go. First 4 months, but let's focus on the month of April, up 15%. Lincoln had a surge here, up 40%. But that's going to stop because, guys, the Nautilus is imported from China. So what's going to happen there? Acura up 33%. We'll get into Acura's numbers here shortly. Honda up 16%. Genesis, check out my review of the GV80 last week. And also, speaking of Acura, I'm reviewing the MDX Type S this week, so stay tuned for that. But check out my GV80 review as well that made my S-Class best, which is the best rating I give vehicles, is the S-Class. It's not a Mercedes term. It's S-tier, I should say. Hyundai up 18%, Kia up 14%. See here, Mazda up 21%. They still keep crushing. We'll go over Mazda in a little bit. They still keep crushing it. Subaru still keeping that momentum of 2 to 3 years now of year over year monthly gains. It's quite mind blowing how they're able to do that just by less than single digit percentages. But guys, check out my video I made earlier this week. Mazda, Subaru, especially Mitsubishi, they're in a lot of trouble with the tariffs unless they can strike a deal with Japan, because the imported cars coming from Japan, it will absolutely demolish Mazda, Subaru, Toyota, especially Mitsubishi, who makes zero cars in the United States. Lexus, up 23%, like we mentioned. Volvo up 5% on the month. So let's get into Honda real quick. Record sales of light trucks and electrified models for Honda in the month of April. CR-V led all Honda models with over 41,000 units for the best month ever for the CR-V in the month of April. Okay, so they just posted its best April ever. Hybrids over 53%. Passport record April sales with the new model. Check out my driving impressions in Puerto Rico with the Passport on and off-road. It's up 99% in the month of April. That's crazy. Odyssey also made my S tier of one of the best vehicles your money can be invested into. Love the Honda Odyssey. Honda set an all-time April record for sales of electrified vehicles. Acura, it's good to see them bounce back, but let's get into the individual models. I find this more fun to talk about. Honda Accord, still suffering, dwindling. Love the Accord. It's just really ugly, but it drives like a luxury luxury sedan in hybrid form anyways. Hybrid's the way to get it, but it's down 23% on the year. That keeps shrinking because it's made in Marysville. Until it gets switched over to Indiana production, it's just gonna keep dwindling. All right, it can't keep up, in my opinion, with the Toyota Camry hybrid. So with price and overall value. But Civic up 7%, also made in Indiana, but it's also made in Canada. So that's going to be interesting how this vehicle will be affected by tariffs. But it's down a little bit on the year, but it's surging here in the month of April. CR-V up 29%, best April ever for the CR-V. Crazy. And last, I think it was in the month of March, it was the best month ever all time for the CR-V. Just nuts, the car sales. Check out my review and walk around on the 2026 updates to the CR-V. Very, very minor updates. The biggest thing is like the Trail Sport and wireless phone connectivity standard. HR-V up 4%. Odyssey up 32%. It deserves it. Odyssey's A++++++++. Passport up 99% in the month. That's just hard to wrap my head around. Pilot up 2%. Prologue, well, they didn't really hardly sell any a year ago, and they're selling almost 2,000. That's a lot of EVs being sold by Honda. All right, just on the Honda end, because the ZDX here sold even more. The ZDX sold more, about 500 units more than the Prologue. Holy smokes. I can't believe it's selling that well. But, I know they're incentivizing them heavily. All right, so keep that in mind. RDX up 8% for the month. MDX up 3% for the month. ADX, well, they're starting to trickle in. They've sold almost 1,000 in the month of April, but keep in mind that it's made in Mexico. So Honda's going really strong right now, including Acura, but it's still riding that tariff like worry wave that people are still frenzied. They want to buy a car before things get too expensive or more expensive, or just people are unsure, so they want to buy a car in the current market because they don't know what's going to hold down the road. All right, second best April for Mazda all time. Best April sales of the CX-90. Second best sales for the CX-50 in the month of April, and second best sales of the CX-50. Mazda 3 sedan continues to grow, or at least I say claw back, because it's probably never going to be at the height of what it was 10, 15 years ago, the Mazda 3, but it's selling well. They're selling about 3 times more Mazda 3 sedans than they are hatchbacks, okay? But overall, the Mazda 3 is up on the year and on the month, up 22% on the month. MX-5 sales are down. The hardtop seems to be really hard to come by right now. CX-30 down 21%. CX-5, what? Did I just say that right? CX-30 down 21% for the month, and it's down 23% for the year. I don't understand why that's the case. But the CX-5, guys, is both of these cars are, Mazda's 80% of the cars are made outside of the United States. The only one that's made in the United States is the CX-50. So, keep in mind that Mazda's going to keep selling well for now, but who knows how the tariffs are going to affect them long term. If nothing changes, it's going to be devastating. Mazda CX-30 down 21%, CX-5 up 9% for the month, CX-50 up 43%. That will keep going up because they stopped shipping them to Canada, the CX-50. CX-70, they sold 1,700 units, but the CX-90 has tripled its sales essentially and sold 5,400 units. CX-90 doing really well for the company. Got to keep moving. Subaru, 33 consecutive months of sales growth, best ever April for the Crosstrek, and the Forester remains the top seller for the 4th consecutive month. Looking at the sales here, Ascent continues to just suffer. I think it will be replaced by the fully electric Ascent made by Toyota in Kentucky next year, but who knows how long they'll keep around the Boxer powered one. BRZ up 20% on the year, but up 86% on the month. Good for the BRZ. You know, after the cancellation of the Legacy, it's still quite doing well. It's up 26% on the year as they close out inventory on it. Impreza, though, up 4% on the year, but not that great of a month in the month of April. If we look into the Outback, minus 12%. That's fascinating. Maybe they just had such a good month last month. It's hard to say, but the Outback, maybe the buyers, okay, here, I just figured it out. All right, we have a new Outback coming. So you're going to have some people who are in the market for an Outback waiting for the new Outback. And then you also have the plant lowering production of the current model as they switch over to the new model, which will be available, I think, this summer. I guess all it says is set to arrive nationwide later this year. So Solterra, well, they was selling well until recently. Look, it's up 56% on the year, but it's down 35% on the month. The Solterra will be replaced. Well, it's not entirely replaced. It'll be supplemented by the new EV called the Trail Seeker. That is going to be more of a Outback styled wagon EV. It's going to be really fast. 0 to 60 in like 4.5 seconds. It's going to be properly quick. It'll be faster than a WRX, but that's not hard to do, really, when you're talking about EVs. WRX is down 60%. I wonder if the writing's on the wall that the WRX could be meeting its end. Not anytime soon, but you guys, look at the sales drops. Minus 11% on the year, minus 60% essentially on the month. We're going to move to Kia. Kia typically doesn't give percentages, but we can just kind of see what's doing well. EV9 sales are in the gutter, down 1,600 units versus last year. When I looked at EV9s recently in my area, there essentially were none. So maybe they're just waiting for production to ramp up stateside compared to the ones that were made in Korea. I'm not quite sure. All right, EV6 also down 1,800 units. Their EVs is just here's the thing. Kia has amazing EVs. The EV9 made, I think, my top 10 vehicles last year. It's fantastic, but the demand for 3-row EVs just isn't very high, or for EVs in general, okay, when there's so much competition. So we've been seeing reports that Hyundai and Kia have been shutting down their EV plant in Korea because of lack of global demand and domestic demand there in South Korea. Forte, though, if we look at the Forte, Forte's up, well, I should say K4. Watch my review on the K4. It's a solid vehicle, and you can get it for a very affordable price if people need affordability nowadays. It's up about 4,000 units compared to last April. Oh, that's April year to date, I should say. April year to date. If we look at the month of April, which is here on the left, it is still outpacing last year's Forte closeout sales numbers. K5, they weren't selling any last year. Not sure what was going on there. Maybe it was a refresh switchover, not 100%. The K5 sold 6,000 units in the month of April. That's huge. It outsold the Soul, outsold the Niro, outsold the Seltos. Okay, so Kia sedans between the K5 and the K4 sold nearly over 18,000 units. All right, that's more than the Sportage. That's impressive. Now, you got to keep in mind, Kia has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8 different crossovers if you want to count in the EVs, and the sedans are just 2, the K4 and the K5. So still small sales numbers for the sedans in comparison, but doing better than I would expect. Now, if we look at the Carnival, we know based off of the Honda Odyssey, minivan sales are increasing. People are realizing that you don't need an SUV to have a good family experience. In fact, it's better in a minivan. You have more cargo capacity. You have better usability. You can slide the doors open, and the kids can get easier in and out of a low-to-ground minivan compared to an SUV. So the Carnival here, watch my review on the hybrid. I was getting like 35 miles per gallon on it. Sold 6,400 units, but it's also, look, it's up almost double on the year. They sold 13,000 last year, and they're about 21,000 this year for that, made in Korea Carnival minivan. Who knows how tariffs will affect it? Oh, before we get into Hyundai, we have Ioniq 9 pricing. It starts at $60,000. It also starts, or it has NACS charging standard. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Also gives you, Hyundai will also give you a converter. So you can charge at, what is it called? CCS level 1 or CCS 1 chargers. All right, so rear wheel drive. Here's the thing about the base model that gets the most range. It only gets 15 more miles, but it's only 215 horsepower. And it's such a big SUV. I'm already spending $60,000. I'm just going to spend $4 grand more to get the dual motor and 300 horsepower so this thing moves adequately. 200 horsepower is simply just not enough power to get this thing moving. Now, I love to test it out, don't get me wrong, and rear-wheel drive would be fun, but I would much rather test out the 300 horsepower or more. I mean, more than likely when it gets in my press fleet, it's going to be the 422 horsepower missile. Okay, those start at $71,000 before destination. So that's the thing. We're already seeing big drops in demand for the Kia EV9. Now, the Ioniq 9 is built in their new Meta plant in Georgia, right here. So the benefit to that, it's going to qualify for the tax credit as long as it's available. It could be canceled at any given moment with the current administration. But Trump ran on canceling the EV tax credit, and he hasn't mentioned it, I don't think, at all since becoming president. All right, maybe Elon Musk or Bezos or whatever rich billionaire that has money involved in the EVs, maybe they're saying, hey, don't cancel the EV tax credit. We need it. We'll see what happens. All right, I want that EV tax credit to stay around because I'm interested in buying the Slate pickup truck when available. I have a deposit on it, so stay tuned for that. Also, Hyundai Motor. Let's get into their sales. Record-breaking April, all-time April total sales increased almost 20%, 7th consecutive month of total sales growth. Not quite as good as Subaru's 33 months, but that's pretty good. Elantra N, Santa Fe, Tucson, Sonata, and Palisade hit April records, and their electrified is up 25%. All right, hybrids jumped 46%. All right, so let's get into individual sales here. Elantra. Well, this is good to see. The Elantra sales are increasing. We saw that the K4 sales are just out of this world. Let's go back to the K4. They've sold 50,000 K4s, and they've sold 46,000 Elantras. What's interesting is that there's a lot more day supply of Elantras than there was K4s. So the Elantras are taking longer to sell. There's more inventory of the Elantras. All right, but the sales volume's looking good on them. So you could get a really good deal on Elantra, I bet you. Ioniq 5 in the gutter. All right, at least for the month of April. It's up 14% of the month, but like the EV6, it's not doing that great, even though the Ioniq 5 just got a refresh. Ioniq 6, I think that it's only a matter of time before they cancel this vehicle. Its sales are not good. The demand for it's not good. They might cancel it for the United States. We'll see, though. Ioniq 5 is still arguably my best EV, at least mainstream EV. It's fantastic. Hyundai Kona down 4%. We saw that the Seltos, we go back to the Seltos for Kia, which is a similar platform vehicle. The Seltos is down 1,600 units for the month of April. It's down about 5,000 units for the year. I'm not sure what's going on there. But the Kona, we're seeing a big drop in supply or potential sales, I should say. Sales is being dropped. Palisade, though, on the eve of the new one coming out, the Palisade is burning hot, up 15% on the month of April and up 7% on the year. Santa Cruz, this truck is just suffering. I mean, the styling is one thing, but without a hybrid, it can't compete. It cannot compete with the Ford Maverick. Watch my Maverick review. Love that truck. It's S-tier pickup truck, S-tier vehicle, to one of the best vehicles you can buy for the money. Santa Fe, love the new boxy Santa Fe. I'd only buy it in a hybrid, though, and it will be getting a next generation hybrid probably in the next fingers crossed, next couple years. Up 28% on the month, up 22% on the year. It's crushing it. Again, I only recommend getting the hybrid there. All right, Sonata, up 12% on the month, up 18% on the year, like the K5. Sedans are doing really, 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 really well for Hyundai and Kia. Tucson, this is their volume seller. Look at this. Their number one selling vehicle, up 26% on the year, up 41% on the month. And we should be getting a new Tucson reveal maybe by the end of this year or sometime next year. All right, it's getting close to a redesign. Yes, they just refreshed it, but I won't be surprised if we get a redesign in the next year or so. And the Hyundai Venue is just kind of floating along, single digits up on the year. People need affordable cars, so that's good. So, yeah, overall, the market is crushing it. April, at least the 7 reporting automakers are up 14% on the month, and the auto market's up 6% on the year. We have no idea what's going to happen in the second half of this year when the tariffs are in effect to varying degrees. We know that parts are going to be tariffed starting, I think it's starting now. It's already in effect, I think, the parts tariffing. And then just who knows what's going to happen with imported cars from Japan, from Korea, from Europe. It's crazy how big of an effect it's going to have on availability, car prices, profitability of dealers. Like it's just mind blowing. I mean, I say that a lot, but like I don't have a better word to explain how the tariffs, if unchanged from today, which who knows? I mean, there's the chance of them changing is like almost sure because it changes every day, but like it still hasn't changed enough to offset the catastrophic things that are likely to come. But I hope for the best. Hopefully it doesn't come to just, we can't get cars from Japan or Korea or Europe anymore. That sounds terrible. All right, that sounds really terrible. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe for monthly sales updates and car news, and watch my MDX Type S review coming in the next couple days. Have a great day and peace.